Hi guys, my name is Ethan Carter, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite bands, Metallica. So I love ranking stuff and making lists and that kind of thing. So for my first video, which you're watching, I wanted to rank the discography of one of the first bands I ever got into, which is Metallica. I decided not to talk about any of their live albums or Garage Inc., which is the covers album, just the 10 main studio albums, and we'll be going through them pretty quick. So let me know in the comments below what your guys' ranking would be, and let's get into this. So my number 10 spot goes, unsurprisingly, to Saint Anger. Uh, I do like a couple of the songs on this album, My World, Some Kind of Monster, but the drums, the lack of Kirk solos, this whole album sounds incredibly stale, and it's really hard to get a lot out of it. It's so incredibly long. There's actually an edit of Some Kind of Monster on Spotify. I'm sure you can find it other places, but it's way shorter, and it replaces the terrible drumming with something more standard, and it makes you kind of wonder what could have been. But I don't know. As much as I like some of the songs on here, it's just really hard to justify putting it above anything else that they've made. So unquestionably, Saint Anger is at the bottom of the list. So maybe kind of controversial, but for me, Reload is my number 9. Now, production-wise, this album is leagues ahead of Saint Anger in just about every way. This was coming during Metallica's pretty mainstream period, coming off of the Black Album. But for me, at least, there's not a ton of songs on this album I really like. There's nothing wrong with the sound, and it actually has a lot more of the stuff that I look for with Metallica. Some of their more ballady type of songs. There's some more mid-tempo stuff. I do like a lot of the songs on here. The Unforgiven 2. I do love Fuel. A lot of the more popular songs, I'll admit, but I don't know. Every time I give this album a listen, there's just not a ton of stuff that really sticks out to me personally. Uh, I don't know. This has just never been a huge high point for me. I don't go back and listen to this one nearly as much as the other ones. So, Reload at number 9. Now, coming in at number 8, we have Metallica's newest album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, I actually like the bulk of this album. If I had any complaints, it would be I wish that it was a little shorter. I don't know why Metallica loves super long albums now, but that's just something they do. And I wish this album had a little bit more varied instrumentation. I wish that there was some slower songs, maybe some songs with a couple different sections, something like Sanitarium or Master of Puppets, just something that a lot of them sound very similar. Kind of like Saint Anger, but not nearly to the same degree, and there is a hefty amount of Kirk solos. So yeah, maybe if this album was edited down a little bit and maybe a few softer songs to break it up a little bit, and I think this would be one of my favorites, but still pretty good. Number 8, not bad. So let's move on to number 7. So at number 7 we have Death Magnetic. I don't want to seem like I'm hating on all the new Metallica albums. I do like their newer stuff. I don't have the words for it, but production-wise, this album just sounds loud, which it should. It's a metal album, but it just sounds like there's too much going on, and you can't make out a lot of the instruments. Everything sounds very compressed, and it does muddy some of the songs. But with that said, a lot of the things I've said on the previous albums are kind of fixed here. There's a lot more varied songs and stuff in terms of how they sound. There's slower tracks, there's more melodic songs. So of all of Metallica's newer albums, I think it's the closest to their old sound, which I really enjoy. So this might confuse a few people, considering how low I put Reload, but the next up is the original Load. It came out the year before. They were intended to be, I think, a double album, or it was going to be one album, but they had way too many songs, so they split it up into Load and Reload. and they do sound very similar, but I really just like more of the songs on this album. I don't really have any real big critiques of the songwriting or the instruments or the production. They're all pretty similar, but I just enjoy more of the songs on load than I do on reload. I go back to this album a lot more. Maybe it feels a little bit closer to like the Black Album in terms of the type of songs on here, but I don't know. Just I go back to it more and I enjoy it more. So number 5 goes to their debut album, Kill 'Em All. I know a little bit of betrayal to hardcore Metallica fans, but there's just more albums that they made that I enjoy more. Obviously, there's 4 more spots. I will say though, Seek and Destroy is one of my all-time favorite songs, top 10 for me. So just it helped the whole thrash metal scene. They were one of the first big thrash metal bands, along with the rest of the big 4, like Anthrax, Slayer, and Megadeth. And this is what started it all. So, important album, not my favorite. So number 4 goes to And Justice for All, Metallica's final album of their 80s run, and probably their darkest. Understandably dark, this was coming off of the death of their bassist Cliff Burton, and would be the first with Jason Newsted. It actually leads to some of the album's only real criticisms that I have, which is the severe lack of bass, at least on the original release. There's been reissues with a better bass line and more pronounced in the mix at least, but I don't know if that was a result of them still mourning Cliff and just really not prioritizing the bass sound, or if it was because of the more I don't know, gray tones that the album seems to have. Best way I could put it. It sounds a lot like how Death Magnetic would sound years later, a similar kind of tone with a lot of the songs, but just absolutely crushing performances, just dark, dark stuff, but a fantastic album from beginning to end. Highly recommend it. And Justice for All, number 4. So at number 3, we have the Black Album, Metallica's most mainstream album. It definitely is a lot softer in tone compared to all their 80s output, and they were definitely trying to become more accessible maybe to a larger audience. This is the first one with producer Bob Rock, and if you look at a lot of the footage of them recording the album, he definitely challenged a lot of what they had kind of known up to that point production-wise, and I think he got a lot better performances out of James lyrically. And while this album's not nearly as heavy as a lot of their albums are, obviously, I think that some of the songs are just unquestionably better songs, and probably why they're so much more radio friendly. Yeah, number 3, the Black Album. It's good. All right, at number 2 we have Metallica's sophomore album, Ride the Lightning. It's all starting to sound like white noise a little bit, but I really do enjoy just about every song on this album. I just recommend you guys go listen to it right now. For Whom the Bell Tolls has one of the coolest bass intros on any song. Cliff Burton was an absolute madman on the bass. Watching him play was like incredible. Go on YouTube and just like type in Cliff Burton bass live and just be blown away by it. They would of course go to perfect a lot of the stuff that they're doing on Ride the Lightning with their next album, which may be coming up soon. Ride the Lightning is absolutely phenomenal, only very slightly losing it to number 1, which is Master of Puppets. Not surprising, probably, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. Battery, Master of Puppets, the thing that should not be, Sanitarium, like every single song is just, it's such a solid track list. Pretty tight, 60 minutes. It's not super long, and very varied songs. Melodically and instrumentally, the album just, I don't know, there's just a lot more going on than a lot of their other projects. Ride the Lightning had a lot of that too, but Master Puppets I think is just a step above. It's a 10 out of 10 album for me. I go back to it quite a bit. It's probably the most re-listened to Metallica album, along with pretty much my whole top 5. But I don't know, one of the best albums of the '80s. So that's my ranking of Metallica's discography. Hope you guys liked it. Leave your rankings below down in the comments. Let me know if there's any bands you'd like to hear me talk about next. Huge metal fan. I do like a lot of other types of music though. I want to talk about other things on this channel too, like movies, video games, stuff like that. I'm into all that kind of thing. So thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good crap if you can, and I'll be back hopefully soon with a new video of some sort. So thank you very much for watching.